It began like any other morning at Graceland, quiet, respectful, ordinary. But then, a single press release shattered the stillness. A team of researchers had uncovered something buried deep, literally and historically. For years, Elvis fans visited the tomb to feel close to their idol. Now, new findings suggest that what lies beneath may not match the legend above. What exactly was found? And why has this discovery been kept quiet until now? Experts reveal a huge announcement about Elvis Presley's tomb. In Graceland, the sacred room below. For years, the meditation garden at Graceland has been a peaceful and sacred place. A spot where fans could pay their respects to Elvis Presley, the legendary king of rock and roll. Millions have visited this garden, walking the quiet path past the grave of a man who changed music forever. But recently, something happened that no one could have seen coming. What began as a simple construction project turned into a stunning discovery that left experts, fans, and the world speechless. It started with concerns about soil erosion. The Graceland Foundation wanted to reinforce the meditation garden's foundation to protect the area from future damage. Contractors brought in their machines, expecting a routine job. But as they dug deeper near Elvis's tomb, their tools hit something unexpected. A loud metallic clang echoed through the site. It wasn't a pipe or a wire. It was something solid, something buried in the earth where no one thought anything should be. At first, the workers thought maybe it was an old utility box. But when they cleared away more dirt, they found a rusted iron hatch, sealed tightly with bolts. That's when everything stopped. The Graceland Foundation immediately halted construction. Within hours, a team of specialists was flown in, archaeologists, engineers, and even spiritual historians. Something was buried beneath Graceland, and no one had a clue what it could be. When they finally opened the hatch, what they found took everyone by surprise. Beneath the meditation garden, right under Elvis's resting place, was a stone staircase spiraling 30 feet underground. At the bottom was a cold, silent chamber. It looked almost like a secret chapel. The walls had small shelves for candles, a wooden crucifix leaned in one corner, and everything was covered in a thick layer of dust. In the center of the room sat a simple stone altar. On it was a leather journal, its pages old and worn. When they opened the journal, they were shocked to see Elvis's own handwriting. These were personal entries, words no one had read before. He wrote about how fame had taken a toll on him, how the spotlight sometimes felt like a prison, and how he found comfort in this quiet underground space. He called it his pilgrimage chamber. In one entry, he wrote, "I come down here when the noise gets too loud, when the voices of the world drown out the voice of God. Down here, I feel real. Down here, I remember who I am." This secret room wasn't an accident. It had been built during a renovation in the late 1960s, carefully, deliberately, and completely off the official blueprints. Only a few people close to Elvis, possibly members of his trusted inner circle known as the Memphis Mafia, likely knew about it. But no one ever spoke of it, not in interviews, not in books, not in whispers. Why did Elvis create such a hidden space beneath where he would one day be buried? Was it a place for reflection, a personal retreat, or something even deeper, a symbol of his spiritual journey? When the Graceland Foundation held a press conference to share the news, they called it a monumental revelation, a rare look into the soul of a man whom the world thought they already knew. The discovery sent shockwaves through the media. Fans cried. Reporters rushed to cover the story. Conspiracy theorists came out in full force, trying to connect the dots in wild new ways. But beyond all the buzz, the room raised a very human question. What was Elvis searching for down there? Hidden Tomb Revelation. At first, the journal found beneath the meditation garden at Graceland seemed like a private escape, a place where Elvis Presley wrote down thoughts of peace, prayer, and reflection. But as experts turned the pages, the tone began to shift. The entries took a darker turn, revealing something far more unsettling than anyone had expected. This wasn't just the journal of a man seeking quiet, it was the journal of someone haunted. Elvis didn't just talk about faith or needing a break from fame. He wrote about visions, strange warnings, and a growing fear that something, or someone, was watching him. One passage sent chills down everyone's spine. They told me this place would never be found, but I feel it. Eyes, always eyes. If you're reading this, then maybe they found me too. That single line sparked a wave of speculation, and soon the story was making headlines around the world. The media called it the Hidden Tomb Revelation. Some thought it was simply the creative expression of a troubled artist, Elvis working through the emotional weight of being a global icon. But others weren't so sure. What if Elvis knew something? What if he built that secret chamber to hide more than just his emotions? And then there was the photo. Tucked into the back of the journal was an old Polaroid. It showed Elvis sitting quietly at the altar in the underground room, eyes shut, hands in prayer. But the real mystery wasn't him. It was the faint, shadowy figure in the background. It didn't look human. Experts sent the photo for forensic analysis, but no one came back with a clear answer. Some said it was a trick of the light. Others believed it could be something else entirely. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a journal or even a hidden room. It was about something much deeper, a legacy wrapped in mystery. What had Elvis been protecting? What had he buried beneath his own grave? That's when the Graceland Foundation announced a full-scale investigation. The team began carefully analyzing every piece of the journal, every drawing, every cryptic line. One entry in particular stood out. Behind the weight of stone and song lies the memory they told me to forget. That sentence hit hard. It suggested there was more, something still waiting to be discovered. The search expanded. Old blueprints from the 1950s were brought out. Construction records were reviewed. Even aerial photos of Graceland were re-examined. And just when the buzz seemed to be fading, investigators made a second shocking discovery. In the northeast wing of the Graceland mansion, in an area that had long been closed to the public and used as storage, they found something hidden in plain sight. A sealed doorway, plastered over and buried behind layers of memorabilia. It wasn't listed on any official plans. Behind it was a narrow hallway that led downward, deeper into the estate. The air was heavy down there, cold and still. It felt like time had stopped. The hallway opened into a small chamber, simple but carefully designed. Candle holders lined the walls, just like in the tomb beneath the garden. And on the far wall, a mosaic showed 3 white doves flying toward a red heart. Beneath the image, carved in Elvis's own handwriting, were the words, "When I am gone, let them find not just music, but truth." This moment changed everything. The chamber beneath the tomb was no longer a one-time secret. It was part of something larger. A pattern. A plan. Elvis wasn't just hiding from the noise of the world. He may have been laying down clues, building a quiet trail towards something he believed the world would one day need to sow. A map beneath Graceland. The second hidden chamber beneath Graceland wasn't anything like the first. It wasn't dusty. It wasn't old and worn. In fact, it looked untouched, clean, perfectly preserved, as if someone had been taking care of it all these years. In the center of the room sat a glass box, and inside was something simple yet deeply personal, a gold cross pendant with a small emerald set in its center. It was elegant, unflashy, very unlike the flashy Elvis many fans knew. Next to the pendant sat a tape recorder and a smaller journal, much older than the first. The first page carried a message that instantly made the room feel heavier. This is not for the fans. This is not for the cameras. This is my reckoning. Those words alone shook everyone who read them. It was no longer just about music or fame. It was about something deeply personal, maybe even painful. The experts who discovered the second chamber weren't just surprised, they were floored. This wasn't just another hidden space, it was carefully designed, like a message carved into the heart of Graceland itself. Elvis hadn't randomly built these rooms, he had planned them, hidden them, and left clues behind, almost like he wanted someone to find them, but only when the time was right. When the news broke that a second secret chamber had been found beneath Graceland, the world couldn't look away. Social media lit up, news outlets raced to cover the story, and even historians who usually rolled their eyes at Elvis conspiracies admitted something big was happening. This wasn't a hoax. This wasn't a tourist stunt. It was real, and it was deeply strange. The press conference was held on the front lawn of Graceland. Reporters, fans, and cameras gathered while the lead preservationist confirmed what many already suspected. Elvis had hidden parts of himself beneath Graceland, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. He had created a private legacy, altars and symbols that spoke to his own beliefs, his doubts, and perhaps a side of him he never shared publicly. But it got even more intense. Inside the second journal, there was a dated entry, October 9th, 1975. It read, "They will come looking. If they find this, they are already too late. There's more. Not here. Deeper." That last word, deeper, sparked a frenzy. What did it mean? Was there another level beneath Graceland? Was Elvis leading people towards something else? Was this all part of a bigger journey, like a spiritual treasure hunt that only he understood? People started to look at Graceland differently. Tour guides were told to stay quiet about the discoveries. Experts began examining every hallway, every locked door, every shadow on the blueprint. TV shows started airing specials, and fans posted theories by the hour. It was no longer just about what had been found. It was about what might still be hidden. Even the skeptics were running out of explanations. 2 hidden chambers, private journals, religious symbols, a gold cross, a shadow in a photo. None of it fit the usual story of Elvis. And yet, somehow, it made perfect sense if you believed that Elvis wasn't just a performer, but a man trying to leave something behind, something that went far beyond music. Now, the big question hangs in the air. What else is down there? What other messages did Elvis hide? And were they meant for us, or were they meant for someone else entirely? One thing's for sure, Graceland is no longer just a museum. It's a mystery, a map. Grave robbery that changed everything. In the sweltering heat of a Memphis summer, the world came to a stop on 16 August 1977. Elvis Presley, arguably the most famous entertainer on the planet, had died unexpectedly at just 42 years old. His sudden passing sent shockwaves around the globe. Fans gathered in mourning, media outlets scrambled for coverage, and the gates of Graceland overflowed with grief. Just days later, however, something even more shocking happened. Something darker. On August 29th, only 13 days after his death, an unbelievable plan unfolded at Forest Hill Cemetery, where Elvis had been buried beside his beloved mother, Gladys. 3 men, strangers with bad intentions, tried to steal his body. Their goal? To hold Elvis's remains for ransom and demand a large sum from the Presley family. It was a bizarre and horrifying plot, and it shook not just Memphis, but the entire nation. The scheme didn't go as they had hoped. The men underestimated just how difficult it would be to move Elvis's massive casket. It was unusually heavy and not easily handled. Even more, local police had kept close watch on the cemetery, knowing how famous the burial site had become. Authorities stepped in quickly and arrested the would-be grave robbers before they could carry out their plan. The attempt rattled Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, to the core. He was already heartbroken by his son's death, but now he had to face the very real possibility that his son's final resting place could be violated. It was too much. Vernon made a swift and life-changing decision. Elvis and Gladys would be moved. Within weeks, their remains were relocated to Graceland, where a special area, what we now know as the Meditation Garden, would become their permanent resting place. That move changed everything. What had started as a response to fear and grief ended up turning Graceland into something more than just Elvis's home. It became a sacred site, a place of tribute, a sanctuary, and in time, it would become the center of a much deeper mystery. Years later, when hidden underground chambers were discovered beneath the Meditation Garden, the earlier events took on new meaning. One of the journals found in the secret space contained unsettling lines. Elvis had written about feeling watched, about being told the chamber would remain hidden forever. "If you're reading this," one line warned, "then maybe they found me too." It raised a terrifying question. Had someone known about this secret, even back in 1977? If the grave robbers had succeeded, they might have done more than just disturb Elvis's remains. They could have stumbled upon the very chamber that held his most private thoughts, his faith, his fears, things no fan had ever seen. The pendant, the journals, the haunting messages, none of it might have survived. For fans and experts alike, the attempted theft only deepened the mystery surrounding Elvis's death and what he may have been trying to protect. Was Elvis really buried at Graceland? There are many conspiracy theories that Elvis Presley wasn't actually buried at Graceland. Some say he never died at all, that it was a body double in the coffin, and that the real Elvis disappeared, leaving behind a secret for the world to uncover one day. For decades, these wild theories were passed around by fans, whispered at Graceland's gates, and dismissed by experts. But as strange new discoveries come to light, those old rumors are starting to sound a little less crazy. After Elvis's reported death on 16 August 1977, he was buried at Forest Hill Cemetery next to his mother, Gladys. It seemed like a peaceful resting place. Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, was shaken by the grave robbery attempt. He feared it could happen again. That's when Vernon made a huge decision to move Elvis and his mother to Graceland. By October 19, with help from the authorities, their remains were exhumed and reburied in a special area of Elvis's own estate, the Meditation Garden. The garden wasn't just any backyard feature. It was a quiet, peaceful place Elvis had loved during his lifetime. Built in the 1960s, it had been his retreat, a space to think, pray, and escape the pressures of fame. Putting him to rest there seemed meaningful, but not everyone believed that was the only reason. Some skeptics claimed the move was more about money than security. They accused Vernon of trying to turn Graceland into a tourist hotspot, knowing that having Elvis buried there would draw huge crowds. The Presley estate denied it, insisting the decision was made to protect Elvis's legacy. But the questions didn't go away. Then, decades later, everything changed. In a shocking twist, a hidden chamber was discovered beneath the meditation garden. Inside were objects that made people stop and think. A glass box, a gold cross with a green stone, and a leather-bound journal written in Elvis's own hand. In the journal, Elvis talked about his spiritual struggles, his fears of being watched, and his need to hide from the world. One page simply said, "This is not for the fans. This is my reckoning." Now people began to wonder, did Elvis know something we didn't? Was the meditation garden not just a peaceful spot, but part of a bigger plan? The Elvis Crypt Auction that never happened. There are many wild stories about Elvis Presley still being alive, hidden away somewhere, and that a body double was buried in his place. Some say he left behind secret messages, spiritual clues, or even coded warnings. Whether or not you believe those theories, one thing is certain. Anything connected to Elvis, especially his final resting place, holds powerful meaning for his fans. That's exactly what made the 2012 auction of his original crypt such a big controversy. When Elvis passed away, he was first buried at Forest Hill Cemetery in Memphis, right next to his beloved mother, Gladys. But just a few weeks later, someone tried to steal his body. After this shocking incident, Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, decided it wasn't safe. He had both Elvis and Gladys moved to the meditation garden at Graceland, where they would be more protected, and, some say, closer to the spiritual place Elvis had loved in life. So, what happened to the original crypt? For years, it remained empty. Julienne's auctions announced that the now vacant crypt would go up for sale. The bidding was set to start at $100,000. Darren Julienne, the auctioneer, described it as a rare collectible, a conversation piece for hardcore Elvis fans. But to many, this was not a collectible. It was sacred ground. Fans were outraged. To them, this wasn't just a piece of marble in a cemetery, it was part of Elvis's story. For even a brief moment, that crypt held the king of rock and roll. Selling it felt wrong. Social media exploded with angry posts. Petitions started circulating. People said it felt like putting a price tag on grief, on a legacy that meant so much more than dollars. Many pointed out that the crypt wasn't just about Elvis the superstar, it was about Elvis the man, the son who wanted to be close to his mother even in death. Others reminded people that this space marked one of the darkest times in Elvis's history. The chaos after his death, the fear of grave robbers, and the beginning of the endless rumors that he never really died. The outrage grew louder when, around the same time, a hidden chapel was reportedly discovered beneath Graceland. Inside it, Elvis's personal journal revealed spiritual thoughts and strange warnings, which some interpreted as signs that Elvis saw Graceland as a sacred place, a place of protection. Suddenly, everything felt even more connected. If the crypt was part of that early chapter, it wasn't just history, it was part of the mystery. Under the weight of the backlash, Julienne's auctions canceled the sale. They announced they would not be moving forward out of respect for Elvis fans and their deep emotional connection to his memory. In the end, the empty crypt at Forest Hill stayed untouched. But the whole ordeal served as a powerful reminder. Elvis fans aren't just admirers. They're protectors of a legacy. Whether it's defending the meditation garden at Graceland or standing up against the auction of an empty tomb, they want to make sure Elvis's story stays sacred. Even now, decades later, that loyalty remains unshaken. Elvis isn't just a star to them. He's a symbol of something greater. And whether or not you believe the stories of a secret life after death, one thing's for sure: his spirit still moves millions, and his legacy can't be sold. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.